Oh boy, that just sounds just awful. Japanese politics doesn't sound fun. Oh, yeah, me. Yeah, yeah. Mm. Yeah. No, you didn't build that. I was told by Obama that. I remember. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hang on, let me see if I can hear you. Say something. Nope. You are a quiet, silent boy over there. You are a silent boy. Can you hear me? Can the stream hear us, though? Yes. Can you hear me? But the stream does not hear you. Can the stream hear us? But the stream doesn't hear you. Sounds like a plan. We're doing it live. Well, now all I have is the splash page. Let's see. And nope, you're still not coming through on YouTube. I have no idea why. Okay. Oh, let's see. I can hear you. Let's see. Nope. Still nothing. I have no idea. Oh, Discord. Cool. Let's see. Hang on 1 second. Okay. I had to switch you in Hangouts because I haven't used Hangouts in so long. Oh, I only see me. Hang on. Listen. Yeah, I can hear you. But I don't think you're coming through on the Hangouts either. Did your update or something? Hello, 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 hello. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
How about that? Can they hear me now? That should fix it. That right
What?
there should be the fix,
There
people.
he is. There it is.
Jesus.
Holy buckets.
Holy buckets indeed. You know what it was? How did that happen? Technology pisses me off, dude. Um no, seriously. That you know where that was? You know where the problem was? It's
Hmm.
on the Streamlab side.
They had changed your input microphone.
They did. Why?
I knew it. I'm sitting here. I'm like, it's got to be OBS. It's got to be Streamlabs because everything else works.
I found it. I tracked it down.
Oh, that's
Oh God. Well,
hilarious.
well, it's perfect. We're a week down, and because of my busyness, and of course, this has to happen. So we're good. We're good for the rest of our life, though. It'll never happen again, Dave. Anyway, what were we saying? Oh yeah, I was talking about that. I haven't spoken English in about 9 days. I've been running around Japan doing bureaucracy stuff, and all the fun that comes with that. And I'm totally out of loop, dude. I have no clue what's going on. The only thing I've heard this week, because it was actually on Japanese news, was Donald's brother died, and it was sad, and people were being mean.
Yes, of course. Yeah, his younger brother died. I don't know if they. I'm sure they did, but I haven't been paying attention much to the news either. If they released what it was, but yeah, he did pass. I mean, Trump's old. I mean, people forget he's in his 70s. That's pretty
Yeah.
not a young man.
Well, I
So,
heard that the brother had fallen down and hit his head.
ooh, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, and his brother's like 70, 71 or something like that. Hey, we got
Mhm.
the Willie Mammoth in here. How you doing, Willie? But yeah, it's sad, man, and I hope he and his family are doing fine, but it's certainly a sad thing, especially for all the damn crap he's got to deal with all the time, you know. But I
Yeah.
was just really surprised. Usually, how mean people are being. But the good thing is, Biden stood up and did the correct thing, and he was like, he gave him condolences and stuff like that. So at least Biden was doing the right thing, even though the rest of the damn Democrats can't get their shit straight. Um,
Well, I mean, yeah, but that was purely political. I
I'm
don't think
sure.
he cares one tit about Trump or his brother.
Probably true, but wouldn't you like to see a return to the civility of normal politics after this chaos? I mean,
Um,
honestly.
yeah, and no. The only reason I say no is because I don't think it's going to.
Nah, that's
I
probably
think this
true.
is
Yeah.
pretty much just our fate. We're living in idiocracy now, so this is what we get.
Yeah, well, yeah. I wonder where Booster is. Claudio is in here. Hello, sir. We have Matt C as well. He says, yo, all. Well, yo to you as well. We're never going to get into some comic book stuff here. I just want to catch up a little bit because, like I said, I've really, truly been out of the loop. I don't know. I don't even know what's going on in Japan, to be honest with you. I've been doing the hotel life for like a complete like 8 days, dude. You
Yeah.
know how old that gets? Like after 2 days.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah.
I love to travel, but I don't like sleeping not in my bed, not in my home.
Yeah.
So if we could somehow get like, vehicles that go fast enough I can travel this whole country in a couple days, I'm in. As long as it's not a
Yeah.
plane because that's expensive.
Yeah, well, yeah. Your Yakuza secrets are safe with us. Thank you, Claudio. That's nice to hear. But yeah, no, it's always good to be home, for sure. Even though I did get to sleep in a bed because hotels here in Japan, unless you go to a ryokan or something like that, they have beds Western style. So I've actually been in a bed, which is nice because I haven't slept in a bed in my as far as my house for what 18, 19 years. So
Wow,
yeah. Eric says, "Is that
that's
Chester?" Yes, it is. Dude, come on in here and say hello.
that's crazy to me. Not having
Jefferson
kids.
called Adams a hermaphrodite. Yeah, well, he probably was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. American politics has always been a little dirty.
that's true. That's true. But Adams was extremely pedantic. Understand that.
Yeah,
Um, Roger Hale says, "Dame, almost damn." Oh, he wants to say damn. He's just too nice a guy to say the actual word. I'll say it for him. Damn, almost missed this show. And the band of awesome people. Roger is such a sweet fella.
indeed.
He
He's too
really
sweet
is.
for this world.
He is. He's too sweet for us. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, we're bastards.
We are. We are. But anyway, what else has been going on this week, guys? Like I said, I only heard that one little bit. I did hear one thing because I was trying to pay attention to my Twitter a little bit. I heard something about DC imploding or something's going on.
Yeah. Um, basically that. DC seems to be imploding. It's a kind of a developing thing. New things keep happening, so we don't really know where it's going. But if I had to guess, a lot of it is from who they recently bought them. People forget that that company has done this to other companies before, entertainment companies. They
Oh,
buy them
sure.
up, come in, and they just do sweeping changes or just shut them down entirely. Um, I believe it. I believe it was them that did the same thing to WCW back in the early 2000s. They bought
Oh,
up Turner Media, and they didn't want wrestling on their shows, on their channels, so they just shut them down. Done. You're done. You're
crazy,
over.
man. Who doesn't want wrestling on your channel? Come on. I mean, if you got to have a soap opera, you got to have the male soap opera. What's going on with that, right?
Yeah. It's kind of weird though. I even said, if you remember, we had been saying that this was going to be the year where this stuff starts to come to a head. Now we didn't know that the universe was like, hey, guess what? Have everything thrown at you. But when it came to these companies and these comic book companies and the way they've been doing business, I thought this would be the year where there was some sort of reckoning. Now I don't know what this is going to look like on the other side, but I would say there's definitely been a reckoning. Um, we will see. We still don't know, and especially with COVID going on, there's just really no telling because this country just refuses to try and be sane for a few, just a couple weeks would be helpful. But
That's wild, bro.
It
there's
is wild.
Booster. But yeah,
You
I don't know what's
Americans are
going to happen with
nuts.
I don't know
Yes,
what's going to happen
it's
with
true.
DC. We'll see. Hopefully they come out of it okay. But I think that this was long overdue, and I think the only reason we haven't seen it happen to Marvel is because Disney's evil and because the MCU is really profitable.
Well, yeah, they got a sugar daddy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers has always been strict, and AT&T, of course, as you said, they're a flipper. They're
Oh
like me, actually. Uh-oh.
yeah. Uh-oh.
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 That's what I do.
That's what they call yakuza hitmen in Japan.
Shh,
Flippers.
they call us flippers. Hey, Booster, what's up, brother?
Allegedly, of course. Hey, it's me. I'm Booster. I'm here. It's good to see you, Chester. It's been a while.
Dude, I have been running all over. I just got home literally yesterday. First time my own
Oh
little
my god.
cozy futon.
Oh,
Yeah. I've
beautiful.
yeah, I don't know about that. I have been having to live in hotels and on hotel beds and bar service and restaurants and all that kind of stuff. You know.
Oh, it sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
What does a dive hotel look like in Japan? Does that even exist?
I've never seen one. No. They're all even the cheaper ones are pretty good. But then again, about the cheapest hotel I can get a hold of is like $100 a night per
Oh yeah, it's
person, by the way.
pretty much that way here now.
Yeah.
Even the dive ones are almost 100, if not 100, over $100 a night.
Yeah, 120 is pretty standard. Although they do have an interesting thing I took advantage. Well, my wife, of course, took advantage of it. Thing going on in Japan right now, trying to deal with all the issues with this plague, and they've actually given discounts for hotels, trying to get people to go and move around a little, right? So I
Mm.
actually my hotel stays were really dirt cheap this particular run, so it was pretty
I
cool.
hear that cruises are selling like hotcakes for next year too, for super cheap prices.
What is?
So
Oh,
cruise,
cruises, cruise ships. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I haven't done one of those in a long time. Last cruise I went on was with another woman, though. I can't talk about
Oh,
it.
oh,
Yeah.
Oh no.
Shh. Yeah.
Oh,
I,
scandalous.
I actually went through. I actually went through the Panama Canal.
nice.
Yeah. I got one of them certificates somewhere. They actually hand them out, and you go through the Panama Canal. They give these little certificate. I heard they do medals depending on what ship you're on, but I didn't get one of those. I got a piece of paper. Well, there's certain places in the world if you cross a line or cross something, you get a piece of paper saying you did that. I guess the only
Yeah,
one I've ever received was the Panama Canal. Although I have to tell you, going this isn't TFT, but I will bring up a TFT. I'm not afraid of it. Uh, people talking about the map moving thing with the Mandela effect, right? That conspiracy theory, and the thing is that I remember the Panama Canal going east to west. You know why? Because I went through it, and I remember in the morning is when we got there, and having the sun behind me, and then by the time we got on the other end, the sun in front of me. You know what that means? East and west.
Ah,
Yeah, with the hold on a second. Now hold on a second, there, Captain Canada. Nice to see you here. You know I love you. But Chester went on a cruise with Booster's mom back in the day. Uh oh. Maybe I am his dad. Uh oh.
Ah,
I am old enough to be
mommy,
your papa. You know that, right?
mommy.
No, I went with a real hottie on that trip actually. But once
yeah,
again,
Booster.
let's not talk about that.
Oh fucking hell.
Oh shit! But it was fun though. I've been on a cruise maybe 2 3 times in my life. They're fun. You guys ever done it?
I have never. My sister goes on them all the time. The problem with me going on a cruise
Don't fuck with
is
the
I would
ocean.
have to take my wife, and she hates the sun, like
Oh,
viscerally.
oh,
So it kind of defeats the purpose of a cruise because there's
yeah,
sun everywhere.
yeah.
There's
There is.
outside.
Yeah, yeah.
There's nowhere to hide from it.
But
So
you know the cool thing about a cruise, and it's kind of like other things you can do. You're just shutting out the outside world. It's like hitting a switch, and then you're
yeah,
somewhere else for however long you're on the cruise. Like that one through the Panama Canal. That was what was that, 7, 8 days, something like that. So you're
Hmm.
like literally hitting a switch and you're disconnected from everything that's going on. Now, I suppose these days it's more modern, I guess, with the internet and such. Because when I took the my last cruises, there was no internet. I mean, that was back in 93, 92, something, not,
Yeah.
something like that. There was certainly no internet like we have today with Wi-Fi and stuff. So, but it was kind of fun. Yeah, it was kind of fun, and nice to see you in here, Captain Canada. But anyway, Booster, give me some other updates before I run into the few little bit of stories I did set up for today. What's been going on? You're a hip kid. You're
No,
always involved in what's going on and up to date. So
I'm a hip
school the old
and with
man.
it.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Oh well, I did the drawn and quartered fan fishing last week, even though
How
I kind of didn't want to, but it went bloody well.
That's awesome. What'd you guys
We
do?
did we did GI Joe because on the last drawn and quartered I did right,
Uh-huh.
JD wouldn't shut up about it,
Uh-huh.
so we thought we'd lean into it.
Yeah,
I
why
got
not,
Matt
right?
Weldon in, and yeah,
Hey,
it went
Matt.
really well.
That's cool. Well, G.I. Joe is
Yeah.
awesome, right? I mean, there's so many
Mhm.
characters you can pick from.
GI
So,
Joe is wild. It streams 24/7 on Hasbro on the Hasbro YouTube channel.
does it? No, I didn't.
Yeah, so I just had that playing on the side. I was just staring at it, and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. It was a
It's
cool
just
show, man.
craziness.
I
Yeah.
mean, I grew up with that, of course, in the early '80s, amongst other things like Thundaro the Barbarian, of course. Um, but
That's right.
Thundercats, things like Silverhawks. Yeah, there was the Mighty
And
Orbots.
it
Oh,
shows
it's a lot of good stuff.
shamelessly American.
It's very American. Damn right it is.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
No,
Even
nothing. I'm glad that
Americans.
something would do that and just lean into it and just be shameless about it.
Well, we used to be proud of being an American, and
Yeah.
now, of
Yeah.
course, we got the Mister the Don trying to bring that
Mm.
back, and I don't hate him for it. No,
And people are going, but what about what we did to brown people?
well, yeah, uh-huh. What do brown people do to brown people is a better question. Dave says, I've been on the tall ships in Penn's Landing. Well, when I was a kid, Dave, I don't know if I've really talked about it much, but my mom's family, they're fishermen. They've been fishermen like forever, right? And in Rhode Island, in Newport, in Narragansett Bay, we have the Tall Ships Festival, and it's the largest collection of tall ships every year in the world. And my family, because they have a whole bunch of ships, right? We were part of that parade. It's like a ship parade every year. It was a lot of fun, dude. I know we were on commercial fishing vessels with flags and banners everywhere, but going and riding amongst all these beautiful, tall, old, ancient ships, it's really cool, dude. That's a fun thing. If you guys enjoy that kind of stuff, I would suggest heading to Newport, checking out the dates on it, and go get on a boat and be part of it. It's fun. You can actually pay some kind of money, and you can actually be a passenger on one of the tall ships as they're in the parade. It's like an all-day thing. It's like an outside enjoying the ocean air, picnicking on the boats and stuff. It's good.
I don't fuck with the ocean.
We
Yeah.
know you don't. Yeah.
Booster is
Mm.
very whatever the term is for being afraid of the ocean. That's him.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shame he lives on an island.
Yeah, it is kind of a shame.
I don't go near it. I stay in the center of this little island. I go to the very top. I'm like, you stay back, ocean. You stay back there, ocean.
Yes. Well, actually, my family's all from Block Island, which is this kind of island about a hour ferry ride off of the coast of Rhode Island. It's not so big; it's just a little island thing, but it's where my family's from. And the interesting thing about that island is when they were making Jaws, Spielberg's Jaws, they actually used many shots of that island for the movie. Yeah,
Nice.
nice, interesting. Booster would love it. You
No,
want to visit?
no. I don't want to be where that abomination of a film was made.
A hobbit, that's why. Cool. All right. Well, let me jump in here and let's take a look at maybe doing a little bit in comic book news. Now,
Oh.
let me share. I'm using because I screwed up, so I'm using the Hangout. So let me come over here and actually do this first. When I'll stop that. Let me Let me do it. Share. Oh, share screen. I haven't used this in a long time. This one, right, right. Okay, perfect. All right, here we go. So let me come over here, and you guys can take a look at this. We do. I have some fun news. It's not all American news though. Go ahead, dude.
Oh. Let me just get that gas out of my neck real quick. Japanese studio team up to launch free anime streaming YouTube channel, Anime Log. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Now this is
That is actually very cool.
it is very cool, dude. So they're gonna have a YouTube channel, of course, free, right? I'm sure they'll try to take advantage of the join whatever that join button does. But in general,
Hmm.
it's free, and you're getting some big companies. Let's see if they name them off here. Let's see, Anime Log. This is talking about that. They're not giving the company names. I had the list. Here we go. Uh, Content produced by Animations, Tezuka, Nippon Animation, of course, was just a big one. That one's huge. And there's others as well. But you're talking about just tons of, like Dragon Ball, they're mentioning here Hunter x Hunter. They have the Astro Boy Blackjack, which is one of my wife's favorite, Doraemon, Crayon Shinchan, and tons of other stuff. When I was looking at another article, and they were talking of like starting out with like over 500 shows, right?
Hmm.
I mean, this is all old stuff, right? This isn't the new stuff, really. But who knows? They'll probably throw up new stuff every now and then too. But I just think it's really cool because I'm guessing here, but I think the Japanese companies have noticed, hey, the Westerners are starting to really pay attention to our manga and anime. Maybe we should promote ourselves, and why not on a
Hmm.
free service like YouTube? Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
smart.
it's awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
smart. Especially since I don't know if it was necessarily directly a response, but it is convenient timing right after one of the largest like anime pirating sites in the world. Which, to be fair, a lot of these things they would post on there you can't get in the West legally.
Mhm.
Um, was taken down. They
Oh,
decided to do this.
what
Mhm.
what
It's pretty
which
good.
what was that? I didn't know there
Kiss
wasn't.
Anime and Kiss Manga.
Huh. I didn't
Yeah,
even know what those
they were
things are.
taken down, and because what do we call them? Crunchyroll and Funimation won't stop screwing around, right?
Yeah.
They won't stop screwing around with their dubs, and I don't believe they released the raw edition of the anime, right? So the subs with no the subs with no subs. So what would you, that's called the raw, yeah.
I
And they keep
guess. Yeah.
screwing around with the they keep screwing around the subs and everything, adding their own little politics in there, you know?
Ah, that would piss them off.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's what there might be some politic involved, I guess. I do
Mm.
know that the Japanese in general, just from the tone of the television news and shows and stuff like that, I think they're a little bit fed up with the West bullshit, and of course, specifically
Hmm.
talking about the SJW stuff. They don't care for it. One of the things that Japan holds most sacred is your privacy of choice, right? Which is why you have a country that's it's very conservative. It's very New England-esque. If you've ever been to New England, that's very much how Japanese culture is. They're very similar. But yet, if you want to be a freak, that's cool too. Japan allows it. Most people here aren't, but it's allowed because freedom and privacy are sacred here. And for you to take away someone's freedom, even if you find it abhorrent, that is abhorrent to the Japanese themselves. They can't stand that crap, right?
Hmm.
This might, I don't think this is directly related to what you're talking about. I think this is probably something they've been planning for a while. But it has the additional effect, I guess. You know?
Hmm. Hmm.
Indeed.
Yeah. But I think it's really cool. If you guys like anime, I'm not a huge anime guy, although there are certain things. But I prefer the anime of the 70s and 80s, the art style. I don't really care for the modern look of anime, to be honest with you.
It's
Uh,
way too cutesy with the big eyes, isn't it?
Yeah, and everything's
Yeah.
super elongated. It's disproportionate. I'm not a
Mm.
big fan. But anyway, Inuyasha. Dave says something about a devil dog. What is this, Dave? I don't know. Help me
Yeah.
out. I don't know.
Inuyasha is a pretty big anime from the 90s.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, it's
Well,
talking
it
about
started in the '90s, but they just recently, well, I say recently, in the last decade, finished it finally because they had
No.
stopped it and never finished it, but now they've fully finished it. I guess there's also some sequel to it out now. My wife was telling me about. She's really big into anime. She's a big old weeb.
Oh, poor thing.
what's it about?
So sorry.
It is about a young girl who gets transported to a mythical version of feudal Japan
Uh huh.
where there are demons and spirits and all sorts of things roaming around.
Uh huh.
And Inuyasha is a half demon who she basically falls in love with.
Oh, makes sense, I guess. So yeah, because Inuyasha
The
means
girls love
devil,
Inuyasha.
like a demon dog or a devil dog is what it means. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. I get it. But I never saw it. Sorry about that. My most of the stuff I watched from Japanese studios like TMS and things like that, which did collaborations with the West, right? So Galaxy Rangers, Mighty Orbots, Silverhawks, things like that. Bionic Six. These are kind of the things I watch the most. But I also watch Yamato and Gatchaman, or sorry, Star Blazers and Battle of the Planets. But yeah, I didn't really. What else did I watch? I watched Akira. I watched Ninja Scroll, which is pretty good. You guys ever seen that one?
Yeah, I saw a bit of that one. It's bloody gory as shit. It's, it's crazy.
It was interesting, though. It was very different.
Hmm.
GOP says, "Holy crap, Chester, you're alive! Welcome back." Well,
He is
dude, I
alive.
told you guys I was going to be gone to the 17th. Did I not? Did I not make it clear, Booster? How many times did I say it?
You did, but we were still crying while you were gone.
Okay, yeah. Star
Yeah.
Saber and the Star Shares. Yeah, that's right, Captain Canada, dude. That was a great one. There was a lot of really good stuff that came out. The Japanese were kicking ass back in the 70s and 80s, dude. I guess they still are, aren't they? But there was some really good stuff. But back in those days, I loved the art. They're just it was so clean and crisp, and it was more toward the realistic. But these days, I really don't like the art very much. But anyway, original Mobile Suit Gundam. I completely missed that, Dave. I didn't see that. I saw Tensor Z, Grandizer, which was one of my favorite, Guy King, things like that. But I never caught Gundam. You guys ever watch Gundam?
No, no.
No, I never watched it much either.
Yeah.
Mechs have never been a huge thing for me. I know a lot of people love them. I like mech games,
Hmm.
but outside of that, I've never been like, oh, I need to watch a mech show.
Ooh, I
It's
love me
never
some
been a
Volt.
genre I've
Oh, I love me
loved.
some Voltron. I know that. Uh, but
Well,
uh, you know, but no, I love those things when I was a kid, of course. And it's really ironic because when I was a kid, I loved mech stuff. I'm not a huge fan these days. But the thing about it was I completely missed Gundam, and now living in Japan, that is the biggest mech thing ever, dude. There's
yeah,
series after series. There's, I don't know, 1,000 episodes of Gundam through all the different series. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. I think there is 1,000 episodes, right?
Oh my
And
god.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's so many series, and if you add them all up, right, it's ridiculously mammoth. You go to the damn pro, they call them a pro shop. It's a hobby shop, is what it is. But you go to the pro shop, and they're just wall to wall Gundam models everywhere, right? It's an
well, didn't they
enormous thing, and I missed it.
recently uh, finish or bless or something the giant one that they're building over there in Japan? I swear I saw something to the effect of some priest came and literally blessed
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
head of the Gundam before they put it on.
Oh yeah, no, that would be a Shinto priest. They do that with everything they build. I've actually seen several of those ceremonies. It's kind of cool because basically the priest comes in, he takes some sake, and he dumps it at the four corners, and then they take the rest of the giant bottle of sake, and everybody gets drunk. It's awesome. That's what I call religion, baby. But yeah,
So So basically, Catholicism.
Sure, sure. But yeah, no, the Japanese, they don't have problem doing that kind of thing. It's all fun. It's all about life. And if you're building a giant Gundam, isn't that part of life too? Right? I think this is
It now.
well, it is, but I mean the Catholics and the Western religions, they're so caught up in their mysticism and their traditionalism that they constantly are pushing against the modern march forward, right? But here in Asia, outside of China, of course, communism, they hate religion. But with the rest of the Buddhist type religions or the animistic religions here in Asia, life is life. A cell phone is a modern thing. It's part of your life. They're not afraid of the modern march forward, and they embrace it as much as they do the ancient traditions as well. And I kind of like that perspective, honestly. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty good.
Gundam Wing. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's pretty good. I think they do a lot of things right in Japan. I think that's one of them. Spirituality, or
They.
well, it's more of a
Yeah.
traditionalism than it is a spirituality, but still,
Well,
I
the
think they
good
do.
thing, they have no war about religion at all.
Yeah,
None. How unique is that? There's no terrorists murdering people. There's no people pointing fingers and wanting scarlet letters or burnings at stakes. There's none of that. None of it. Now, of course, they did have
mm.
time where samurai would go around cutting people's head off if they didn't do what they were told. It balances, I guess. But
Just a little bit of fascism is
a little bit,
necessary
a
once in a
little,
while.
a little bit, a little
Only
bit.
a little fascism. I
Yeah.
just want a few heads chopped off, and everyone sorts themselves out.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the chat has definitely given us all the Gundams. Mobile Suit Gundam. We have Gundam Wing. I've heard of that one. Gundam 00 and Iron Blooded Orphans. There's more than that, even guys. There's Gundam is ridiculous. From what I understand, there are a lot of Gundam series that have never come to the West at all. Right? It's a weird that I missed it because it came out around the time where I was watching that stuff. I guess it just didn't get brought to America because when I was a kid, after I get done with school, I would literally run home from the bus stop because it stopped like I don't know, 800 meters, a kilometer away. Not that far. But I'd run home or to my grandmother's house, go in, have to turn on that little TV, go to the UHF, constantly try to adjust that thing so I could get it perfect because we're getting broadcast from Boston, and sit down and watch Force 5, baby. And that would have Star Blazers and then something else. So the Force 5 was the second part of it. So I love that stuff, but they didn't have Gundam. So, what do you want? Zeren Gundame. All right, there you go. Well, anyway, let's move on. I think this is really cool news, though. And I think Booster's right. This is a little bit of pushback from Japan as well. And in
Good.
the, yeah, yeah, it's nice. Nice. All right, let's
I
move on
wouldn't be
here.
surprised if, real quick, if one of the major studios in Japan, basically just said that that's enough of that and refused to allow it to happen and just laid the law down to them. To be honest.
Well, they are well organized. The groups that are doing it. Toei or some of those other ones, which are always causing trouble, they might be in opposition, but I don't think they have much say over the matter. This is something, like I said, I get Booster's point of this being some kind of pushback, and I'm sure there's some of that to it, but this looks like it's well organized. And if you understand the Japanese, it is. Yeah, Gundam Unicorn. Now, I actually saw some of that one, Rabbit. Yeah, Gundam's cool. I just wish I had been on the ground floor with it, but I wasn't. Anyway, we got another story here. This one is perfect. It's perfect.
No! Blizzard Watch fan site cites Black Lives Matter movement as reason to end World of Warcraft's race war.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really care what the article says. I just saw the headline and had to put it up, dude. Uh,
Come on.
Blizzard is so damn woke. The funny thing is, we know that Blizzard Activision is caught up with the whole Chinese Tencent thing, right? We know that, right? Because they've been bought up by the Chinese, and the Chinese are making, I should say, the CCP. is making a concerted effort to absolutely dominate the video game world, the cell phone world, the computer world, networking world. They're pushing hard because they know they can't win any war on the ground. They understand that. And so they're making their war in the information age is what they're pushing at. Just like the Japanese knew they couldn't win a war, so they switched their soldiers into businessmen and they went out and conquered the damn planet. It's the same
Yeah.
approach, right?
Well, they
Um,
can't win a war on the land. They can't win a war at sea. America's Navy is so ridiculously powerful. I don't even know why we bother with much of anything else, to be honest. We're something like 20 years ahead of everybody easily. All of the super carriers in the world, we have them.
oh yeah,
It's a joke compared. Like to think that China could be a threat without some sort of intercontinental attack to America anyway directly is ridiculous. So they definitely don't want a war.
oh
They're going
no,
to do everything they can to avoid that.
yeah. And the sad thing is we seem to be creeping closer and closer to that situation, and it'll be interesting to see what China does because they've been pushing back hard ever since this COVID came out. But interesting thing about that is here recently we had the is like this. There's it's kind of like their Independence Day. It's their Communist Revolution Independence Day thing they had, and each little prefecture will have its own little. The CCP will put out its own little, yay Independence Day type of thing. And one of their prefectures put up one showing. A whole armada of modern navy ships, and in Chinese it said like moving into the future, we support the people, you support us, something like that. But the thing with it was that was like a mixed European armada. Had American ships, French ships, British ships.
Yeah.
There wasn't a single Chinese ship in it. And the Chinese people called them out for it. There's a revolution popping up in China, you guys. I don't know if you're aware of this, but
Well,
the
it was
Chinese
bound to
are sick
happen.
of
I
it.
think the CCP knew it was going to happen to some degree because as you modernize a people, they tend to become more and more anti-authoritarian. As you start to own your own stuff, or at least as much as you can in China, you don't want it taken away from you
Eh,
over some nonsense because some bureaucrat got his panties in a bunch, right? So that whole thing is how the West was built. Really, people started to own stuff. They started to come up. They started to build a middle class in
that's right.
in Europe and stuff. And this sparked inquisitiveness as to why the people at the top were at the top, and questions started being asked that you weren't supposed to ask. And this is what's happening in China. It's the same
Yeah.
exact thing. And I think they had to have known that was coming because even though they do very incompetent things, they're not completely stupid. So I this decade is going to be the craziest decade maybe in human history. I really think that there's massive political change all over the world's going to happen in a very short amount of time.
Well, it'll certainly be the most covered incident decade in history as
Yes,
far as that goes
it's
because
true.
of our internet and stuff. But yeah, no, the Chinese, well, I have to be careful with that. The CCPs found themselves in some really deep water because I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but the PLA is starting to push back against the CCP. Now
Yeah,
that's the PLA is the People Liberation Army, and you're like, well, hold on a second. The CCP controls the PLA. They're the same, right? No, technically they're not. And the People's Liberation Army is not happy with the CCP, and they've actually made threats. And why are we talking about this in regards to this? Well, two reasons. Civil war is brewing in China for damn sure. But also, China has been making a race war against several groups for quite a while, and
yeah,
the West has been calling them out. And so, what does China do when they get called out? They push harder. More Uyghurs are being imprisoned and killed. More of the that religious group they hate is being abused and attacked. They're doing hard lockdowns in Tibet because the Tibetans have been, you know, bursting at the seams against CCP since they were taken down in the 50s.
mm,
There's a lot of this stuff going on, and you would think China. A lot of people have this idea that China is a homogenous place. but it's not. There are many racial groups that live in China, and they're all kind of banging at each
Mm.
other right now. And the CCP is trying to play them all off against each other, but I think it's going to come back and bite
Well,
them.
speaking of
I don't like my
racial
odds in a
groups,
race war.
Mm.
yes.
Mm.
Speaking of racial groups, this idea from Blizzard Watch is so utterly stupid.
Retarded.
Yeah, it's there's to even suggest that there is similarity between Black Lives Matter and Black Americans
Hmm.
and orcs in any way, especially in the Warcraft universe, is so unbelievably stupid and racist. I
Orcs are black
cannot
people,
believe
remember?
I cannot believe that somebody would honestly say it. Look at that orc. Does that look like a black person?
Well,
Anything
no,
about him?
he should be
Well, to
green.
them, apparently.
Yeah, I guess.
Which is the funniest part to me, that they look at the guys as like, how'd you tell that's a disgusting black person? You're like, whoa, what? We didn't, what?
Doesn't it look a little bit more like Neanderthal, which would be white?
Mm-hmm. Hey, who are
Yeah,
they?
they're basically big green cavemen. I mean, physically, that's what they're built like. Um, it's just so disgusting that they think that the orcs represent black people because they're tribal, I guess, and shamanistic. I have
Mm.
no idea why they think they represent black people. The orcs in the Warcraft universe were absolute colonial tyrants. If anything,
Mhm.
they're the white people they hate.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they
uh,
literally came through portals to dominate shit. They're like, all right, we're done dominating our place.
Yeah, they
yeah, yeah.
committed a genocide in their home, in their planet they lived on, built out of the bones of the people they killed a massive road leading to a giant portal to invade Azeroth
Yep.
Oh
and
my
kill
god.
human beings.
I remember when reviews came out for that Warcraft movie, right? When
Uh-huh.
some reviewers thought that the orcs represented the refugee crisis.
What?
Yes.
No. Come. What?
Yeah, that's what they thought. When, this
Mm.
story had been around for decades, right? It was only just now being put on the onto the silver screen, yeah? But these people are so fucking stupid that they think that anything that comes out is representing today's politics.
Well. Well, the world we live in. But there's a lot of idiots. I guess they seem to make them by the second. Dave said 800 meters, a kilometer. Americans are like, what? Sorry, dude, about a half mile. Uh, I've been living in Asia the majority of my adult life. Give me a break. Cult Film videos. Although I have to say, I have the utmost respect for us Americans in keeping the imperial. Absolutely. Cultman Video says we should go to war with the British again. Sure, why not? Really getting tired of hearing them toot their horn and pull their pud over measurements. We got Dixie, guns, and 2 Hank Williams. That's right. We
I,
better than you.
uni-
No, hold on a second.
unironically,
Give a clap for that. That's a clap for that. That's a good one. I like it.
unironically,
I don't
annex
care
Britain.
for it.
Annex
Yeah.
it. We
Yeah.
we should just annex Britain. I think. Just
Yeah,
we'll
probably. They
take that.
they had they had their run, but now they're like, we feel bad for being white. It's like, you're done. You conquered a third of the planet once upon a time. You did great, but now you're just, ugh,
Yeah, no, America should take Canada,
what
Britain, the
what happened?
Netherlands, Australia, and New Zealand. Take it
Yeah,
all,
that's
Yeah,
right.
and
just take me,
we
please.
might take
Re-
Tasmania
Get me
too. I'm
away
not
from the
sure.
silly Jacinda slut
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
with the big ass teeth.
Rabbit says, "Hey, leave us Brits alone." Captain Canada says, "Orcs were brown before some drank the fell blood." True, and of
True.
course, if you go around the world, bring a little bit of mythological study into it. The orcs, the Onis, whatever they're called in various cultures around the world, what they represent is the modernization of agricultural culture rising, and those who are on the edge of it being seen as barbaric and potentially quite dangerous to the agrarian cultures that were coming up. That's what they represent. And Tolkien, of course, brought the orc back and made it modernized by using it in his Lord of the Rings. And but that's really what they represent around the world as far as in the animistic religions.
Well,
Was that
here's why
boring
it's
enough?
such an utterly stupid comparison, and to even put it in the same breath is just virtue signaling to an nth degree. The orcs in this world, in this universe, have never been, at least not by another race, oppressed. They were only oppressed because of their own decision to join demons. So they were literally oppressed by demons because they chose to be.
Yeah.
And then
And
they broke free in Warcraft 3. That was the story of the orcs and that, breaking free of their oppressors. But it had nothing to do with racial stuff. The demons weren't oppressing them because they were orcs. They were oppressing them because that's what demons do. They
Mhm,
oppress
mhm.
people.
They're good at that.
That's their whole thing.
That's their purpose. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
One thing
Well,
that the Warcraft universe has always done very well is that we're not really supposed to root for a single side in this whole thing, right? There are, good and bad people on both these sides of
sure.
the Horde and the Alliance, right? And that's why I really respect, even though I don't like that Warcraft movie, I really respect the director for seeing that because the producers wanted them just make humans good, orcs bad kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
But the director and writer understood, but that's not what Warcraft's about.
Well, yeah, but also having the titular bad guy is
Mhm.
important to storytelling. And orcs, drow, these things represent the bad guy in the most
Mm.
simplistic way, right? And you need that. It's just they're so silly. That's the thing that gets me. The things the ideas that they come out with, they're so silly, but they take them so seriously. And it's like, dude, get a grip of yourself. What are you doing with your life? I mean, honestly, this is fantasy. These are orcs, for goodness sake. Interesting little thing. I can't remember the name of the group offhand. It's pissing me off, but I've been sitting here like for 5 minutes trying to remember it. But there's a group that came up out of all the conflict that was happening in the Middle East thousands and thousands of years ago. There's some kind of Semitic group, and they ended up migrating all the way over toward the west of, excuse me, the east of modern
Sand
day
people.
Russia. Well, they're Semitic Jews, right, or Arabs, right? And
Sand Jews.
no, no. But they ended up
Taoists.
the east of Russia, over near Mongolia, and their culture's still there. And they were basically the word translates to swan people, right? And you can still find them, although they look more Mongolian now than they used to. But the interesting thing is they were there for a long time, and they were very powerful warriors. But there was a big war. This is ancient history we're talking about here, and their culture got blown up. For a long time, they were just kind of and they still are just kind of migrating around, and a lot of the men they would find work as mercenaries. You see, and they were really good fighters, and it took like the entire Asia to rise up against them to knock them out. But they worked as mercenaries for a long time, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll tell you what they looked like, and I'll see if you can't see where I'm going with this. They were excessively tall. The very tall people. The writings talk of them like being like 7 foot on average. So they were huge people, huge humans. They also had a very red tinge to their skin, which we know that exists. We have them in the Native Americans as well. We know they came from Asia, right? They also love the wing motif. And we still have some remnants of that culture today with the hussars, and you know how they wear the wings on the back of their uniforms or their armor as they ride into battle. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Mhm.
That's actually a remnant of these people, and they were really powerful warriors, and they existed for a very long time. And of course, they were Semitic. So what does that mean? That means they had big noses. Do you guys see what I'm describing here? Anybody? No?
I'm just gonna let you dig this hole yourself.
I'm digging it, baby. But nah,
An
they
elf.
no the Tengu. The big old red guys with the long noses and the wings, and they're a
Yeah.
mythological monster. They're actually coming from an actual historical people, just like the Oni, just like the Orc. That's my point I'm trying to make. A lot of these mythological creatures we have were actually things at one time that just kind of became mythologicalized. I made a word. It's awesome.
Mythologicalized.
Yeah.
Mythologicalized.
Yeah,
The other
I'd say
reason
that's a
why
word. Yeah.
this is also just utterly moronic. Um, the orcs are one of the most powerful races in Warcraft.
Oh yeah.
They are effectively the core of the Horde.
Hmm.
Um, they have their own countries. They have taken their own countries by force and built their own lands up. How is that in any way analogous or in any way similar to African Americans in America? Like, yeah, it's just so stupid. It's so utterly stupid. It hurts
It
me. I'm
is.
in pain. I'm getting a migraine. It's so
Yeah.
dumb.
It is so dumb. But we'll move on from this. I just thought it was it's so stupid, dude. But the Howl Comics Alan says, "What are Phoenicians for 100, Alex? Are you calling me a nerd? Are you calling me a nerd, sir? On
Yeah,
this show? God.
I'm
On
surprised
a comic news show, no less.
they
God.
didn't cry about the Tauren, which are basically just American Indians.
Yeah, they
Uh,
are. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm just surprised they weren't crying more about that because
Uh,
how is that okay? They made them into big cows.
Oh, they don't care about the natives. They don't care about them at all. Matter of fact, you know what,
Um,
Thundero? They don't care about black people either. I don't know if you've noticed that.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
see,
what? They clearly care. Clearly clear. Black lives do matter.
Do they? Do they
Yeah.
really? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen, I understand the response. You know, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, back and forth. I get it. I get what's going on. But the thing is, not all Black Lives Matter. Not all.
uh, I'm going to go even further. I'm going with Mr. Cthulhu
No
for
lives matter.
1,000. No lives matter. Life doesn't matter. In fact,
Ooh,
scientifically, there's absolutely no reason for it to exist, according
Very
to
nihilistic of you.
very nihilist.
I'm
He
just,
went all
I'm just
philosophical.
saying.
Yeah.
That's what
Been
science
hanging
says.
out
You
with me
can't
too much.
say there's no creator and then say life matters. It's not how
It's
that
fair.
works.
It's fair. It is fair.
Ooh, my
Let's
pie's ready.
let's move on to another stupid story. Booster.
All right. What do we got? New Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series announced starring female turtle Jenica.
Why
Now,
is her name Jenica?
oh
What
well, I
is
don't
They're
know, but
really trying to push this character
they really
very
are.
hard.
And keep in mind, back in the '90s, I think it was, maybe it was later, but in the past, they had this character on one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shows. It was actually the CG one. It was like a really real hard push at 3D CG. And they already had her. So she's not a new thing. She's been around for a while, and that show bombed. It's like the worst rated show of all the TMT, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shows there have been. So it's like you already tried that, and it failed horribly. So why are you doing it again? I don't get it. I don't get it. But whatever.
it's it's so stupid. Again, more stupidity. Um, the turtles with their names, being named after famous, artists and whatnot, and then you have Jenica. Like,
Well, here's the
how is a
problem.
female? Like, this is obviously designed to get the female audience, whatever. How is that not like? Wait a minute, why is her name such shit? Like, why is that not your first thought compared to Michelangelo and Leonardo and Donatello and Raphael? Such awesome names. And then she's Jenica.
Yeah, there's a there is a problem that you kind of run into with that, and I don't want to step on any toes or upset anybody or anything like that. But name me a classical female painter.
Well,
Name
you don't have to
one, just
necessarily go with a
one.
classical female painter. You could just go with a classical Italian female name, and it would be fine. I think people would just
Yeah,
be fine with it because it would fit the theme. But
I
instead of
couldn't
being
even think of one as a joke. That's how hard
no,
that one
yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, we've had her before. She's not new. Whoever did this is a horrible artist. I've actually think we looked at this picture before. She is gigantic in comparison to them. What is she 10 foot tall? The bad art. Bad. Get it right. But whatever, they can do whatever they want. I'm not. It's not my property, so they can do whatever they like. But they've tried this before, and it didn't go well. And it looks like we're having this is very interesting. Look at all the anthropomorphic creatures here. I'm cool with that though. Yeah, I guess it's in the future, and the serum is now infected the entire human population. Sweet.
here's the crazy thing, right? I just looked into the backstory a little bit more. Apparently, she became that way from a transfusion from Leonardo. Son of a bitch, they could have named her Mona Lisa.
Oh, they could have. Oh my God,
Oh,
dude, that
they
would have
so could
been.
have.
They could have called her
Oh
Mona.
my god.
Mona. That was a sex joke.
But she'll be having a Mona.
Yeah,
out
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
her
the
butt.
Alan says the first female turtle was named Venus. So there you go. But I just my point is I know they tried to do it before and it really didn't go over well. Um, but I think adding a new turtle is a problem. That's why they've always added other side characters, right?
The
Not
problem
not a
is
new
that you
turtle.
already have the four character dynamic, which is a perfect paradigm,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You have leader, tough guy, smart guy, funny guy. That's a perfect character paradigm.
yeah. Yeah. But and another problem that comes in with this possibly booster is this because they want to have a new turtle and might as well make her female, or is this it's time, it's time,
Oh,
you
it's
know?
It's time
definitely
for a
time.
lady
Yeah,
Yeah,
turtle.
100%.
and that's what's going to ruin it, right?
And one of my absolute favorite examples of how this makes people feel. Do you remember the episode of The Simpsons where they felt that Itchy and Scratchy was getting very stale, right? And they thought they'd throw in a new character, Poochie, right? Which is voiced
Oh,
by Homer Simpson. And the immediate reaction to this character was just raw disgust. Like everyone just immediately hated him. Yeah?
yeah, because you're messing
That's
with the
ju-
narrative. Yeah,
exactly that's what happens when you try to throw in a character um, well into a show's runtime. Same with like a real life example of this, Scrappy Doo.
oh my God, yeah, Scrappy Doo
Yeah.
was so hated, uh
Yes.
and for good reason, because Scrappy Doo sucked balls.
Hmm. And he was an annoying little shit.
Yes, he was.
It's never a good idea to throw a character into a well established paradigm.
Yes, and yes, you're right. I've exposed myself. I am a Scooby Doo purist. Damn it!
There'll be no Scrappy Doos on this show.
Yeah, no one loved Scrappy Doo when I was a kid. That's right, Captain Canada. We all hated Scrappy Doo. Eric says,
Hmm.
"Isn't that partially why Eastman and Laird split? One said there would never be a female turtle or a fifth turtle. Well, Booster, summed it up perfectly. It messes with the dynamic. That's why they've
Mm.
always added other side characters, not the core. You know,
Yes.
and if you really want a female turtle team, then go make your own damn book, man. I mean,
Hmm.
go for it. Write it well, promote it well, and ride your success, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's right, Alan. The turtles fit the four personalities. Don't fix what's broken. Perfect. Although I like this Animal Farm look here, though. That's kind of interesting. But
Me too.
whatever. More dumbness. Oh, this is happiness. This makes me happy. Booster, go ahead.
All right. Concept artist Adrian Salusti
Salusti, yeah,
shows off designs for Wheel of Time's Randall 4, Moraine Damodred. Oh, God.
and more,
And more.
and more.
Probably triggered
Uh,
some Wheel of Time fans in the chat. Eh?
Probably,
The
but
irony.
now I'm a big Wheel of Time fan. I enjoyed that book, the series actually. I think I only read one though, but I enjoyed it. I actually have the Wheel of Time role playing book. It's huge. I could kill you with it. So big, Booster.
Huge.
It's huge. But it's actually an interesting series. The way they go about it, things. It's different, interesting, and I like it because they're talking about. Trying to do something with it, possibly like TV show, movie, or something like that. And I know what Thunder is going to say already, but nevertheless, we are talking about a Wheel of Time series here, and they do have some interesting things. And what they've done is they've taken straight from the book. I think his name is Robert Jordan. Let me see if they have it here. Robert, I was right. Damn it! Give me 2 points, Booster. I was right.
Well,
But
well done, you.
thank you. But they took right out of the book, and they're because he's very. I don't know if you guys ever read the Wheel of Time, but it's a little bit like Martin. He's very overly descriptive, and in a
Mm.
cool way. Right, so you really can visualize the world. Some authors give you some generalizations of what things look like, but it's more about the dialogue. It's more about the story. Jordan here is really into the detail in your mind's eye of what the things around you look like. He's really good at that. So they took that out of the book and they have created, these designs, these, for the show, of exactly what he had in mind and what things look like. And I thought it was pretty cool. Like they have inside here, like they have this room here set up. They have like farmhouses, and they have the swords, which he described incredibly detailed. It's really beautiful. I like the idea of doing their best to read the book, and especially from a writer who really details those kind of things, and trying to make it as true to the author's image as possible. I like that. I like when they do those kind of things, and it's cool that they have a writer who offers such a style that you can do that. So I thought this was an interesting article. I don't know if anyone cares about the Wheel of Time series, but I liked it. What do you think, Thundero?
I have no opinion on the Wheel of Time. I've never read it. I've never had an interest in reading it. The art style is pretty cool though. I like that. That looks good.
Yeah,
Other
no.
than that, I am completely agnostic to it.
Oh God, he used the word properly even.
Mm.
Nixie says, "Hey Booster, I just finished my date with Ashley. All she did was complain about everything. She was the perfect date. What? What's he talking about?
I believe he's talking about a famous series on Booster's channel called Valley Date, where he had a date with a gamer girl, Ashley, and she is one of the most horrible bitches in that entire game.
Yeah, I'm still trying to understand exactly where the appeal of this game is coming from. I'm not really
Oh,
sure.
well, I like horrible things.
Hmm.
I love The Room. I wanted to play The Room of video games, and I got it. It's on my channel.
Uh,
It's pretty bad. Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
It's cringe incarnate, and it's just, it's delicious for me. Other people, it just destroys them from the inside. I love it. It makes me feel warm and cuddly inside
oh, that's
when
nice.
yeah. And you also get to have like a deep dive into how these people think and just how
Mm,
messed up they are.
why would you want to do that to yourself, though? It's
Because
troublesome.
I have to know my enemy, just like that one really annoying Green Day song.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Actually, I spent like 2 weeks ago, I guess it was 3 weeks, something like that. To my wife's great annoyance, I watched a lot of because we had I probably already mentioned this, but we had a TFT show and we were talking about things we wanted to do, and I think I offhand had mentioned something about I had seen something online and it seemed like everyone was having sex with everybody else, and you guys all yelled at me, says, "Chester, no one's getting any." I was like, okay. So I wanted to kind of do a TFT on modern dating and the what do they call those MGTOW and
The
th-
MGTOWs and
Mm.
the
things like
incels and
that.
such.
Yeah, the incels and things like. So I wanted to do a show on that. So I was trying to do a
Mhm.
deep dive research into it, right? So I spent like
Mhm.
almost I don't know 5 days researching it. My wife sitting
Oh,
next to me. Damn, dude. That is, I could not find anything entertaining to do with that show. That is just
No, it's sad.
sad. It's
It's
sad.
depressing. You don't want to be around an incel community, dude.
Well,
It's miserable.
it's not just them. It's the women. What the hell has happened to Western women? Jesus, dude. Uh, uh, it,
um, you want to know why I hate Disney? You just found the reason. Every single woman that I know, even my wife to some degree, but she's pretty good about it. They all think that they're princesses and that they're special and they deserve to be treated X, Y, and Z just because vagina. I've
yeah, no,
literally had my best friend's wife tell me that to my face,
it's
and I
ridiculous.
just was dumbstruck. I went, "What? What?"
Well, men, gentlemen, and any ladies that are listening, I'm sure there's hardly any. But gentlemen,
If
there's
there
a
are, call me.
there are two rules. Yes, call booster.
Yeah.
First of all, never date a princess ever. That's rule number one.
Correct.
Two, never date a woman with kids.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's
I
true.
mean, these are
I learned
simple
that lesson the
rules.
hard way.
Yeah, dude. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. But anyway, I tried hard, guys. I watched a ton of videos from all different kind of people, for and against. I read articles. I looked into finding anything entertaining to do that show, and I couldn't find anything. I gave up. I literally gave up. I don't give up, Booster, but I gave up. I did because
Mhm,
I
mhm.
couldn't think, what the hell am I going to do with this? I can't make this fun. This is just going to be an hour and a half of drudge, man. I mean, Jesus. And I think the it's MGTOW, right? That's what they call themselves. There's some there's another one, MAS, or there's some other name I can't remember. But some of that is their own doing. You're right, Booster. But I get some of it too, though, because
Mhm.
if you're having to deal with what seems to be the modern woman, and from what I can tell, it's the majority, not the minority. That's the most terrifying thing of it. I
It
mean,
can
it's
be
like,
soul
what
crushing
the
after a
hell are you
while.
gonna do, dude?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Honestly, and unfortunately, she's passed just this last December. But the best thing that ever happened to me was my mother taking an interest in my love life because before she didn't care,
Uh-huh.
but I had just gone through a bad breakup with my ex fiance and I was real depressed and it was obvious. So she basically reached out to a family member of mine to try and get me a date. Well, that
Hmm.
woman ended up being my wife.
Oh,
Best thing that ever
nice,
happened to me.
nice.
So if you have a sane mother, ask her. Listen to mama. Because mama's probably not going to steer you. Now, if you have a crazy mother, don't listen to mama. But if you have a sane one,
Mhm.
she's probably not going to steer you wrong on a good woman.
Well, she loves you, right? Isn't she supposed to look
Yep,
out for your best interests? I mean, isn't that a mother's
exactly.
job? Although it seems like that's not what's going on these days, at least with some of them. But I don't know, dude. Back in my day, we didn't have any of these technological apps, these SNS stuff. So you
Mm.
actually had to go out there and do the groundwork to get a girl interested. You had to build up game, right? You had to have game. And I learned along the way, don't date this, don't do that. This was a mistake, and little by little, you kind of narrow yourself down to finding the woman that's best for you. And I think that from what I got out of all of that is, simplifying what men want down to the essence of it is, men want a woman who is attractive to them, which varies,
Yes.
right? They want a good homemaker, a good wife, good woman, good mother. They want a woman that has not slept with the planet, no whores, you know.
Mm.
And we want a woman that's not a bitch.
Yeah.
Finished,
At least not
done.
to you. She can be one to other
Oh,
people who
sure, to
deserve
you.
it,
Now these are
but
all,
not to you. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's really men are very very simple. I know a lot of these women get all confused. Why can't I find a good man? Because you're looking for bad ones, stupid. That's why you can't find a good one.
right.
They're out there. There's millions of them out there who probably are having trouble finding a date because they run into women like you and they're just like, nah,
Well,
I'll just
that's
I'll just watch
Hi, I'm
porn.
Booster.
Well, no, that's a big part of it. When I was doing the research, I found was the fact that the women's standards are ridiculous. What they're
Mhm.
looking for doesn't exist, and you have
Blame
all these men.
Disney.
Yeah, maybe it is Disney's fault, but I'm just saying that just go out there and make a friend, find a partner. I mean, it's not that freaking hard, dude. But that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for a meal ticket, and it's disgusting. Anyway, I'm
They're
going to get
looking for
off of
their
that.
prince. They deserve their prince, Chester. They just have to follow their heart,
Yeah,
and
huh.
eventually he'll show up. It's all Disney's bullshit that they've rammed into this generation of young women for years, their whole lives. That's why when I run into people who defend Disney, I can't. I have nothing for you because their programming has done nothing but destroy a generation of young women.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm not gonna drag it out because I decided I'm not gonna do show on it because it's as you can tell, it's depressing as hell. But let's see what the chat says. The chat's fault that I started talking about that. Damn it, chat. Uh, did the game talk? Did the gang talk about DC Comics implosion? We did a little bit in the beginning. I've been out of the loop, so I'm not really sure. Although I have a feeling when I do pontificators this week, I'll be better informed. Eric says they are all princesses and they all have magic between their legs. If I had a vagina, I would rule the world. I tell you. Well, it seems that's the problem. The thing is, though, outside of the core West, or at least these people who think this way, it's not like that, dude. It's really
Mhm.
not. Women are just they're women. They're just
Yeah.
Chester is intimidated by Western women. It's yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, I wouldn't go anywhere near them, dude. Are you kidding me? I'm sure they're good women. I understand there are. But
There are.
looking at the statistics and stuff when I was doing that, it's way high a percentage of nonsense that's going on. It's
The
not good, dude. It's not
the
good.
problem is like you said, statistically, there are very good women, but there's uh, still very dominant, powerful alpha type men who snatch them all up,
Sure, and
and then
good on them.
the
They go
regular guys are just
have
stuck with the harpies.
yeah, and those guys and those women who go out and make their lives together, good on you. Congratulations. But the percentage of these princesses with these high demands and they're just stupid ideas and it's like I would like to know. No, no, not shut
Oh,
up,
the shit
Booster.
I've put up with.
Oh, that's fair. That's
The
fair.
shit I've put up in the last year, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, yeah, no, that's true. That is true. Okay, you get a pass. But no, here's a thing that I think women don't understand, and if you guys don't mind, I'll get a little scientific here. Uh, Men and women are different. No, that we are.
No, I don't
Yeah,
believe
no,
it.
we are.
Oh no, he said it.
I did. But and here's one of the ways we're actually different in every way. Every system in your body is different from a woman. Your bones, your muscles, your circulatory, your respiratory system, including your brain. We are different. And men and women, when we interact with each other and we hold hands and we kiss and we cuddle and we have sex and all those kind of things we do, it produces oxytocin in the brain, right? And this is what creates the love effect. All right. So, this is the scientific chemistry of it. Now, the thing with it is, another thing we do is our brains are set up to create new patterns and stick to those patterns as tightly as we can until we force ourselves out of them, right? This is why we humans can adapt to everything so easily. It's a quite a beneficial thing, but it also has a negative effect. And one of the negative effects in this conversation, it comes down to this: if you have a man and going out there and sleeping with a bunch of women, which technically, really you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't really be out sleeping with tons and tons of women. You shouldn't do that. Trying out a few and finding out what's going on is fine, but don't get crazy about it. But nevertheless, men do that because it is their DNA imperative to do it. I get it. But you set up a pattern in your head of that you're supposed to be. So this works for men and it works for women. But when you try to settle down and be monogamous, what happens is in the male brain, that pattern is assisted in being broken up and going into a monogamous situation by the use of the oxytocin that is, building up in your body and pushing you toward, being in a monogamous situation. And this is obviously something that's built into our DNA for the purpose of a man becoming a father, becoming a husband, right? The problem with this is, guys, women don't have that. So if a woman who's gone out and slept with 20, 60, 100 men, which seems to be quite common these days with the women particularly, they have to force themselves into a monogamous relationship by will alone. There's no chemical assistance for them as it is with men. So, although I would suggest men not going out and being absolute lechers, for a woman, it is essential that they not do this because they literally cannot come back from it unless they're just a stone wall of will. And how many women have we met that are?
How many men have we met that
That's
are?
right. No, that's right. So, I mean, but it's true. But men have an assistance. We have something to help us. It's built into our DNA to do that. Women
Yeah.
don't have it. So these women going out there and sleeping with so many guys, they're literally screwing themselves up for making a family. And it's like, you can't sit there and bitch at me, and now you're whining. You can't find the right man. You can't stay loyal to a man when literally history has told you for thousands of years, don't be a slut. It's like,
Yes.
open your freaking ears and listen. There's a reason why we do certain things. History is not stupid. It is proven
Mhm.
examples of how life works, but yet we
That's
want
right.
to throw it away and deny it all the time. So we've lost what? Two generations of women. Two generations of women. Hopefully this Generation Z is going to fix this shit because it's ridiculous. I'm sorry, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed. God damn it.
Lust isn't one of the sins just for a laugh, huh?
No, dude. I mean, God. I mean,
They,
damn,
they
dude.
knew stuff. They didn't like list out all these sins just because they thought it was funny.
No, I mean, I understand that bureaucracy, therefore the Catholic or Protestant bureaucracy can be evil and hellish. I get it. But the concepts aren't coming out of bureaucracy. They're coming out of lived experience.
Yes.
Man,
It's the conceit of the modern. People tend to think that their era is more advanced. They're just better than the previous era. They were barbarians back then, and it's largely untrue. There was a reason a lot of things that people take for granted now were the norm, and it was because they tested other things and they didn't work.
yeah,
History is a long list of people trying and failing and then going with the thing that did not fail.
that's right.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
We're trial and error from day one. The only reason we still exist as a people, scientifically speaking, anyway, is because enough people started getting it right, and we just kept going forward. Really, only about 1,000, 2,000 people in European civilization, anyway, and probably in world history, have ever done anything truly great that pushed humanity forward itself. So for
Yeah.
the most part, it's just been a big game of trial and error for everybody else.
Yeah, and we are fools not to follow it and learn from it. I mean,
Yes.
it's insane, and that's what I see with so many of the things that are going on. Not just this subject, so many other subjects. People are just throwing off the learned experience of history and saying I can do it better. The arrogance of it, the absolute fucking hubris. Yeah, yeah, that's a Picard
Yes.
quote. Damn right it is. Um, it's just ridiculous, dude. Women are different. Chester, you mad fiend. Chester's an anger, bitter old man. You know the funny thing about it, Nick? I'm not. I'm happy, dude. I am happily married. I love my wife. We have a great relationship. We do all kind of fun things together all the time. What I am angry and bitter about is for you guys. Because damn it, dude, the world you live in is absolutely screwed up, man. It's
Yeah.
absolutely screwed up, and something radical needs to happen to bring us back. And I'm seeing a lot of good things coming out of this Generation Z that they call them, and I really hope that they can help us. Because the boomers, there were a bunch of little spoiled brats, and they raised us, Generation Z, and Generation Z is the really cause of all the problem we have going on. I know everyone blames millennials, but it's actually Generation Z who raised them, right? And they allow it because we're the ones in power right now, right? So I'm just hoping this
Do you
Z
mean Gen
generation.
X that raised millennials, or
What do you say?
the gener? Do you mean Gen X's, or
Is that what I am? I'm a Gen X.
yeah,
Didn't I say that? What did I
that
say?
raised the millennials? Yeah, you said
No, you
Gen
said
Z,
Z.
I made a
which
mistake.
is
I'm
Yeah, I'm a Gen
actually
Xer.
the newest ones.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
what they call whatever whoever makes these lists call a zennial. So technically, I'm a millennial, but I'm pretty much Gen X because I'm the early '80s when I was
Oh,
born.
right.
So my parents were boomers, but you're correct. The Gen X is largely responsible for this. Their nihilism and their apathy,
Yeah.
which is legendary, is what created this unbelievably narcissistic
Oh, yeah.
world we're living in now.
It's true. I take full responsibility. Now, of course, I didn't raise my kids that way. I didn't live that way. So it's not all of them, but it's enough. It's more than
Yeah.
enough that has created the millennials. And the millennials have taken that poor education and run with it. We're really getting off track here. We were talking about concept art for Wheel of Time, damn it. Gen X Chester, thank you guys. Millennials care about everything. I don't think they care about anything. I'm in that same category, and Gen X was a big screw up. Yep. No, it really is. Gen X was too busy whining about Star Wars. Zoomers are upset
Mhm.
Twitch was taken away. Is it Twitch or TikTok? I blame Nirvana.
TikTok was the one that was taken away.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. But for good reason, actually. If you go do a little research on that, you'll find that that was actually a pretty smart move by the Don.
Yeah.
Um, but then again, I don't know where has the Don screwed up, Thundero?
Oh, what do you mean?
He
Where
hasn't killed these people yet.
what
that are
mistake has he
rioting.
made? Yeah, other than not
He hasn't
killing
gone
people.
far enough.
Yeah,
Um, he is he is unwilling to bow to the left. Like every here's the problem. It's not that Trump won't bow to the left because they want power. They already have all the power. They
Yeah.
control everything but him. It's that he makes the people who did bow to the left look in the damn mirror, and they don't like it because he refuses. See, this is why people who refuse to conform are outcast. It's not because they refuse to conform, it's because the other people know that they aren't that brave and they don't like looking at that mirror. That's why. So when somebody is like Trump who refuses to bow to their nonsense and play their little games, they hate him for it. And they don't hate him because they want to dominate, which they do. That's part of it. But they hate him because the good people who did kneel to them are now feel that they're too far gone. They can't pull it back, whether that be CEOs of these corporations or just normal people. They look in that mirror and they hate him for it because they can't be him. So that's really all it is. The reason why people this visceral hatred of him. Not you can disagree with his policies, that's fine. Um, but there's some people, which is a very small minority, who disagree with him politically on policy and on principle and things. Okay, but there's a vast majority of them on the other side that hate him for who he is, not because he doesn't play ball or this or that or whatever, but because he refuses to bow to the forces that are trying to quite literally dominate the world. And they did. They sold out. They sold their soul. So when
Yeah.
they see somebody stand up who didn't, they hate them for it. That's why they hate Trump. It's a weird form of jealousy is why they hate him.
Interesting. Yeah, but it'll all turn out the way it does. This November should be pretty interesting. But back to this real quick before we move on to the next subject. I like the architectural art that this person put forward, but I don't like the character art. I think it's poor level of art. Now, to be fair, we are on the comic book side. We get to see just ridiculous levels of art every week on this show, right? So we're a bit spoiled. I get it. But just going through these characters, things, the artist isn't great, and I am absolutely offended. Why in the hell is that guy holding the sword by the blade with an unmailed hand? Huh?
I mean, he wouldn't be doing that for long if
He
that
wouldn't be
sword has
doing
any
that for long.
sharpness to it.
No, it's absolute. Who the hell is doing this art? But the character art isn't very good. That's all right-ish. It's not. It's wonky. It's wonky.
Yeah,
But
it's the proportions are off a little bit.
yeah, it's not good. But like I said, we are spoiled. No, I understand that it's concept art. I get that, Adrian. But we're just spoiled. I get that. I'm not going to linger on it. But they have captured the look of it from reading the books and stuff. And like I said, I have the RPG, which they did the same thing. And the RPG, of course, book was going to have tons of art. And they took Jordan's writings and they did it in a really beautiful art style. Of course, that's a finished thing, not a concept like they're doing here. I get that, but anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I hope they don't screw it up. I can keep my fingers crossed. You never know, because eventually it's got to break, Thundero. Something's got to break. Someone's got to come out with something that's just telling a great story with no politics, and it's going to hit big time, and it's going to break it. Eventually, it's going to happen, dude.
Um, I agree, and I still hold to my prediction that this year's, and I think we were right, just in a way we weren't expecting to be right. This year's going to change things.
Yeah,
Well, it did.
it
Um,
did. Yeah,
but I still hold to my prediction that 2023, 2022, maybe 2024 is when this will finally stop. The wokeism, the kneeling to it, the bowing to it. You're already starting to see pushback on it. I mean, the NFL and the NBA, or I don't know about the NFL, but the NBA and MLB and all these, their ratings are in the toilet and they don't have fans in the stands. So that's not good for them money wise. Um, it's suicide. It's slow, poisonous suicide. And I just don't think it's going to keep going. I think the culture has been very adamant that we're over this. We don't want to hear it anymore. We
yeah,
don't want to see it anymore.
yeah,
And I think you're right. I think somebody's going to come up with something extra political that has nothing to do with politics and is just great storytelling. I think it's going to be a cyberpunk genre. I don't think it'll be Cyberpunk 2077, but I do think the punk genres are going to be what breaks it. which is funny because that's kind of the point of punk.
Isn't it,
Um,
though? Isn't it? Yeah.
and I do think that's coming. I think in the next year or two, somebody's going to hit with something punkish that's going to just change the game over the next 5 years culturally.
Yeah, I can't remember. We just lost like a punk legend the past week or so. Can't remember who it was. I saw that in the news offhand. But anyway, um, we'll see what happens with this and other things that are coming out. I get your point. Thunder and I are on a very different standing. What's going to happen with Cyberpunk 2077? I think it's going to be mammoth, but we'll see. We'll see. At least it's going to be in the right direction. We know that, right?
Yes.
I
Um,
hope so.
yeah, no, definitely will. Those guys
'Cause
have been standing
I have
against this the whole time.
yeah, just some of the things I've seen of it is just made me worried. You know, with the number of things that they've removed. Like, hopefully they weren't necessary to the game's experience. You know, they removed
Yeah.
them for a reason.
Well,
We'll see.
we'll see. We just have to wait and see. Ghost
Mm.
of Tsushima came out, and it was a big hit because it was just a great game. They're
Yep.
still whining about that, but tough.
Yeah,
Suck
and they
it
just
up.
announced
Die
later
mad,
on this
nerds.
fall, Ghost of Tsushima is going to have a co-op mode.
Hey.
It looks very, very cool, and it's leaning into Japanese mythology heavily. So that's pretty sweet, and it's free. It's completely free.
Yeah,
Anybody who
that
bought
was
the
cool.
game, you just be able to
Yeah.
download it and jump in and play.
Yeah.
So it looks pretty cool.
Oh, man.
Hopefully, it's good. I am not opposed to co-op modes. I think they need to be in more games.
Mm.
I miss the days when you could just jump in and have 4 people playing a freaking whatever game, pick a game from back in the day.
Hmm.
I think it's a welcome change. We need more co-op modes.
A big
Well-
problem with co-op games, right? Back in the day, they used to just be like, "Here, have another Master Chief." You know, you're both Master Chief. Enjoy. They used to not be ashamed of doing that, but now it has to be in the narrative and make sense. And
Yeah.
I think that's a really dumb mistake.
Games got all up their own ass. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Adrian says, I heard the game mechanics of that the game is wonky. There are a couple bugs, yeah. But overall, it looks like it works pretty well. And I have to
Just happy
say,
to see Sucker Punch succeed again.
yeah, no,
Great
it is.
game
It is
company.
nice. I have to say, Thundera, not only do you use your vocabulary correctly, I mean, extra political. That was very nice use of that word. You actually, for a Westerner, almost pronounced Tsushima correctly. You're very
I would
close, dude.
if I didn't have a slight stutter or whatever it is in my with S's. Sometimes I stutter on them. I probably would be able to do it perfectly.
Yeah. Well, no, that's an actual compliment. I'm actually complimenting you. That is a very
I know.
difficult word to say correctly, actually.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I don't say it correctly 100% of the time because it's Tsushima.
The reason I can do that, I'm going to tell you right now, because I have a cat
Huh?
and her name is Persephone, but I call her Sephi. Now, if you probably can't hear it over the mic, but I'm doing that sound for her name. I'm putting a T before the S, but mixing it like that Tsushima.
Yeah.
So you can't really, if you don't know to hear it, you don't even hear it. You just hear the S. I don't know why I do that with her name. That's just what I call her, and I've always called her that.
Well, that's
So
cool.
that's
I
probably
want
why
to
I
hear
can do
Mike Tyson try to pronounce that. Tsushima.
Oh, poor Mike. Let's not pick on him, man. He's had a hard life. Anyway, let's move on here. This
What is
way.
that to his face? Get my
No,
face
no,
down,
don't do
Sheldon.
that. I saw Mike come up with a little thing about his return a couple weeks ago. That dude is still freaking scary, man.
Yeah, he's a monster. Don't do it. Just don't. Just don't do it.
Don't do it. Go ahead, Booster.
What do we have here? Oh, more words. All right. Artist Sangrit. Why is there no letter between that G, R, and D? What is this?
Sangrede.
Sangrede shares pinup of Tokyo Ghouls Toika Kirishima.
Yes. Now this is just talking about Tokyo Ghoul itself and showing a pinup. It's nothing more than that. But I just thought it was kind of cool because I don't know if you guys watch much anime. It sounds like you do.
Yeah,
one of
Booster, you weeb.
well,
Haven't
one
watched
of the
an
things
anime
I
in my
did,
life.
guys, with my kids growing up was I watched. We all watch anime together. right? Because they're big fans, particularly my daughter. And we watched. It was one of the things we do together. And when they come back and visit, which during this pandemic we haven't really been able to see each other much, but when they come back, we always watch some movie or show together, just as part of the thing we do. And I watched Tokyo Ghoul with my kids some years back, and I'm not a fan of the art style, as I've already said, but it's a pretty interesting story. This is one that I would suggest. Now, it's bloody as hell. This is not for kids at all. But it's a very interesting take on the zombie, right? I wouldn't even call them zombie. I call them ghouls, as I think they properly named it here. But if you haven't seen this one, I would suggest you do. And I just want to kind of take a look at this. I guess this character that the artist has a DeviantArt page and hasn't done this character before, so this is a new thing for him to show this particular character. But Booster, you ever watched Tokyo Ghoul?
I think I saw the first episode, and it exists. It's there.
Yeah, it's two
It was
seasons.
bloody.
I think I watched 2 seasons. They were
You know.
two separate stories, actually. How about you, Thunder? You ever watched Tokyo Ghoul?
I watched a little bit of it with my wife, but it didn't grab me.
Well, yeah, I kind
But
of
then again,
liked
I
it.
only like maybe half an episode, so
It's kind of cool art, though.
I will
Uh,
say this: the art style is at least it's as mature as I've seen in mainstream anime in a while. So I'll give
yeah.
it that. That's nice.
Well,
If you want a anime with a really great art style that matches the tone and maturity of its story, watch Ergo Proxy.
yep.
That
No,
is a
I've
beautiful anime.
I've watched that one too. My kids know
Mm.
what I like and I don't like, and all the minida or the you guys say chibi, all the chibi stuff and the breaking all of a sudden out of character and art style for some tantrum that character. I hate that crap. I hate it. My kids know
Yeah,
it, so
yeah.
they only show me things that are straightforward and serious. And Ergo Proxy is freaking beautiful. It is.
Oh, you
Tokyo
mean
Ghoul.
like when they start like yelling and screaming, break character, and like their face morphs and shit, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and they change the actual art style
Yeah.
changes right in the middle of it. I can't
Yes,
stay.
I never understood that.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts. It fucks up the tone of the whole thing. Like sometimes it'll be a really serious moment, and then the character will be like, "Nande
Booster, if you were Japanese, you'd understand. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
Well,
apologies.
no, that's a fair point because it is cultural. And one of the perfect examples of this is Gintama. And now Gintama means
Like
silver
Gintama.
ball, but Gintama is it's very parody-esque. It's very weird. It's
I actually
pure
love Gintama.
Japanese. Uh, and but the art is freaking outstanding until they break character, right? My kids love that. I couldn't stand the damn thing, but I absolutely love the premise and the art was amazing. And the funny thing about that too, when that was really popular, in class, when I'm teaching kids and stuff, I will occasionally make errors on purpose. To get a laugh out of the kids or get a joke out of them, and I would say, yeah, yeah. What is this show you guys been watching? This Kintama, and then make them laugh because Kintama means gold ball is the word they use for the testicle, right? And the kids would just lose their mind over it. They think it's the most hilarious thing that this gaijin has just said balls. Yeah, yeah. Whatever. Anyway, you guys don't get it. You don't get it. You had to be there. It's funny. Anyway, what do you guys think of this art I'm showing off here?
It's it's cool. It's neat. It's very good. It's
Yeah,
spooky. It spooks me.
oh, that's cool. Yeah, I really liked it. Let's see. I couldn't get into Gintama, and I didn't like it at all. But I think it's more Boosters generation. To be honest with you, watch.
It was very silly, but I liked but it did genuinely make me laugh a few times.
Booster is saying watch Rurouni Kenshi Trust and Betrayal. Very good.
Yeah.
All right.
So Rurouni Kenshin wasn't really my thing when I saw the original one, right? Because it's a lot of silliness and all that character breaking stuff we were just talking about, right? But
Mm.
Trust and Betrayal is very good. It's very straight faced. It's bloody. It's cool.
Yeah. Alan says very funny round eye. Well, round eye is that's Chinese guai lo. Guaylo, right? That's a
Right,
Chinese
round
thing.
eye. Rock you,
Gaijin
round eye.
in Japan doesn't mean round eye; it means foreigner, outsider, right? They also refer to us here in Japan as Nambanjin, which literally means barbarian. So, and the funny thing is, if you know anything about the history of the West and the history of Japan, when the Europeans finally came back over here with the black ships and broke up the closed nature of Japan, they constantly calling us all barbarians, but they were the barbarians without question. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, doesn't barbarian basically just mean foreigner too?
Well, yeah, but barbarian means it's coming off the word Babel, which means
Yeah.
people of a different language is what the word really means. But the Japanese, we just
Huh.
translated it in barbarian. What the Japanese meant was unsophisticated, uncivilized savage, is what
Yeah.
Nambanjan means. But of course, in reality, they were the ones who were uncivilized. They were the ones who were savages. But it's projection, I guess. Japanese, of course, now are very modern, super modern people. They're not like they were, but some of language does carry over from past, maybe not so enlightened times. Language is something that has time to it, right?
Yeah.
And so people don't even use Nanbanjin anymore. They use Gaigokujin. And Gaijin used to be quite the slur back in the 60s and 70s, but it's softened these days to just meaning foreigner. So anyway,
Ooh.
Yeah. They use it in New Japan Pro Wrestling a lot
yeah, and no,
for
yeah,
the
sure.
non-Japanese wrestlers.
They're good wrestlers though, man. I'm telling you
Oh yeah.
what, the Japanese don't play around, man. They go at it. They like, you remember those old was it ECW, the old days. You go back to the old time wrestling when there were many leagues before Vince McMahon bought everything.
Yeah.
And those dudes would punish themselves for your amusement, man. They absolutely would. And the Japanese are still in that mode because they
Oh yeah.
hurt themselves for us, man.
Yeah. I love Japanese wrestling. I watch it. I watch it very often. The best matches in the world are generally speaking Japanese.
Hmm.
There'll be occasional gems over here and in the West, but the Japanese wrestlers, especially the face of their company now, he's a league above everybody else.
Hmm.
If the best Westerner is a 5-star wrestler, he's a 7-star wrestler. Like he's just that much better.
I don't know. I think I might have, but did I tell you that like a year or so ago I met the I can't remember what they call themselves, but the big wrestling troupe here in Japan, the big league. Of
New
course, they're a
Japan,
troupe. They're like a circus troupe, right? What do you call them?
New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Is it
They
New
might
Japan?
call
Maybe
them.
it
I
was.
think they call themselves the IWGP, International
Uh,
Wrestling Grand Prix.
Maybe I can't remember offhand, but they're like a circus troupe, really. I mean, I know it's
Yeah.
you have this guy's against this guy. This guy has this manager. No, no, no. They're a one big circus troupe. That's what they are. And I
Mhm.
met them because they had come to our the city over in the mountain here, where I run my school and stuff. And they were doing just doing their thing in our big old culture hall. We have like a civic center, and a whole bunch of people came. They're having a lot of fun. But I was working in that building at the same time. I probably told you the story before, but of course, therefore, I was kind of in the backstage area, and they were all back there, and I just sat and chatted with them for a while. They were pretty cool people.
Yeah.
Very small, very short people, little people.
Yes. Well, luckily they're the guy, like I said, who's like the face of their company. He's not even the champion right now, but um he's a tall guy. He's like 6'2", pretty much built like a Westerner. But yeah, the rest of them are just they're very
The six two
little lightweights and cruiserweights.
6'2" is still small to me. You know that, right?
Well, for a Japanese man, that's tall.
Yeah, no, they were actually really nice guys. One guy actually tried to pick me up and put me on his shoulder. He managed it for like 3 seconds. It was good, but but they were really nice guys though. I've never had an opportunity. I've gone saw wrestling when I was a kid, and so but I've only seen. I never got behind the scenes actually talking to wrestlers. My first time was with the Japanese guys, but they were great people, man. Yeah. Anyway, I watched a lot of Dr. Death, Steve Williams, when he was in Japan in the 90s. That's cool, Captain Canada. Anyway, my last thing I want to talk about today is in front of us.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead, Booster.
Dynamite of Marvel's Avengers beta reveals 15 unannounced DLC characters. Because of course it does.
All right, we're gonna get into that in a second, but I want to talk about this a little bit because I did sit down and one of the things I did watch while I was busy, when I was in the hotel at night, I watched some reviews on this and some playthroughs and stuff like that. And I know Thunder is going to have his opinion. I'm going to let him give that in a second. But um, first thing I'll say, it looks fun. And it's the first time in a long time we've had a Marvel game that looks fun. I mean, damn, it's been a long time, dude. Right? So that's a good thing. Other than that, I don't have much good to say about it. The story looks janky. It's just taking various things they've done before and just kind of pasting it together. But once again, it's a video game. It's not necessarily a narrative game, although it seems like they kind of wanted to do that. So if it's fun, that's all that matters. The conversation's done, and it looks fun. It does look fun. Gameplay, you have a lot of control over your character, although you can also just a button mash. I guess you can do either or. But there's an argument I saw going on between is it woke or is it not woke, and the whole narrative is you're basically playing as Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan. That's what you're doing, and uh, you know, they made her a. I get she looks like she's a young adult in her body, but the character sounds like she's like 10, right? Oh my God, it's so cool. She's literally the
Sounds like
Valley Girl
Iron
nonsense.
Man. Oh my god.
Oh my God. Well, it was very much like that. She acting like a little kid, getting excited over stuff, and I guess you can make that work. So the question comes down is who was this made for? And it seems to me that it really was made for little kids, and that's not necessarily a problem, right? I don't have a problem with that. From what I saw in the playthroughs and stuff, I didn't see any wokeness though. She's just a stupid little kid with her ideas, but of course she's a science genius, of course. So I didn't see any particular wokeness yet. But then they released this here, and it came out with a list of the DLC characters coming. So we got. Well, you go ahead and read them off, Booster.
Who we have? Ant-Man, Vision, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Falcon, Marvel,
Mm.
Mockingbird, Quake, Winter Soldier, Scarlet Witch, Captain Marvel, Kate Bishop, She-Hulk, and War Machine.
All right. So it's an interesting list, and you know what I don't see anywhere in there is Captain Marvel.
Dog shit. The dog shit list.
It
But
is
yeah,
a strange list, but there is Captain Marvel right there. Sorry, but I mean let's go through it.
Hmm.
Ant-Man, okay, well he's an original Avenger. He should certainly been there. Vision
yeah.
makes sense. Black
Should have been in the
Panther,
first place.
okay. Doctor Strange doesn't make any sense at all, although he's popular in their movies, so that's why he's in there. Falcon, same thing. Marvel, now that's very interesting. That's very interesting because in the timeline that I saw, he's long dead, long dead. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. Is it a flashback? I'm not sure. Mockingbird, Quake, double, Winter Soldier, kind of, from a gameplay
Yeah.
point of view. Scarlet Witch. Now you got Doctor Strange or Scarlet Witch. How in the hell are you going to mitigate that? I mean,
That's why I
Where's
think
Daredevil?
there's no Daredevil. There's no
Wolverine,
Wolverine. Like I don't see any of the X-Men really.
Wonder Man.
Just I don't know. Here's what it feels like. It feels like they took a bunch of people recognized from the movies because of course that makes
Yeah,
sense.
makes sense.
And then they took a bunch of like C to maybe B list or lower ones that only nerds will recognize so that they can feel like, they're special or whatever. But they didn't take great characters by and large. I mean, nobody likes
No.
Kate Bishop. They can pretend that people do, but nobody likes Kate Bishop.
Well,
She-Hulk, depending on which She-Hulk we get, could be great. War Machine, while a cool name, is kind of a meh character himself. Because he's just Iron Man with more guns.
but he's
so
in the
I don't.
movie, so
Yeah.
Um,
So they could have done better. Is my point. There's a lot better. Marvel has a humongous list of characters. We could have got some really obscure ones. We could have got some really popular ones. like Daredevil. I just don't understand some of the ones they chose, like Quake.
Well,
Was
she's
anybody
coming out of
like
the Agents of Shield, right?
was anybody like, we really want to play Quake? Like,
No.
yeah, I hope
I
this
don't even
game
know who
adds
Quake
Quake.
is.
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
like a Sonic producer.
Right.
She's actually a comic book character, but they put her in Marvel. She was like the main character in the Shield Agents of Shield. That's why
Right.
she's here. A lot of this is all coming out of what they've put on film, right? Now, there's two things here that catch my eye. First of all, we know that Spider-Man is coming out as PlayStation exclusive only, and as far as
Yeah,
what
yep.
they're saying, if you're on any other system, you ain't getting him, right? So
For
that's
me,
caused
but
some
I
consternation.
understand.
Well,
Yeah,
Sony owns them.
but they
Yeah.
do, and oh well. But the other thing that's catching my eye is they've been talking about for everybody else, it's not getting Spider-Man, you're getting Hawkeye on release as a DLC character.
Yay!
But no, it's not yay because he's not on this list, dude. Kate Bishop is. I think they're
Yeah.
doing a double on us, dude. They're doing a double take on us. I think we are
I've
getting
seen
Hawkeye.
the
We're getting Kate
I've
Bishop
seen
Hawkeye.
the work for Hawkeye. I think these are the DLC characters, right? So I
Yeah,
think you're gonna get Hawkeye as like one of your main guys on the other systems.
maybe.
But
I hope so. And the Kate
I
Bishop
mean,
thing,
you got a choice between Hawkeye and freaking Spider-Man. I mean,
yeah, go buy a PlayStation.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. Wasp is missing in this list. Yes, she is. An original Avenger, not here. You're right, Claudio.
Yep.
You're right. Right.
And a great character, by the
And
way.
a great character. Yeah. But
I know why
I don't
Hank
know.
Pym isn't
Like,
in original Avengers shit anymore. Like he will never escape the one time he hit um, the Wasp, right?
Yeah, but see, even that was an Elseworld story, though.
Yeah,
That wasn't even main line. That was a thing they did with
I know,
him, and
but you
abuse and
understand the
stuff.
perspective of these people. He will never escape this because that's just him now.
I guess, but it's not him.
Yeah,
It's not him at
I know,
all.
but
Yeah.
according to these people, that's all he will ever be.
It actually was a pretty good story they did with that.
Hmm.
Captain America coming in, getting him some.
well, like you
Yeah.
were saying earlier, though, Chester, um, from what I've seen, when you play these characters in their own missions, the main characters anyway, you're playing that character. It's not super cookie cutter as far as it's just the same character with a different skin. It's you're the Hulk. You fight like the Hulk. You feel like the Hulk. You smashing and banging everything. And then when you play, like I don't know, Iron Man, you're flying around and shooting shit and launching rockets and being Iron Man. So they've gone out of their way to try and make each character feel like you're playing that character, from what I understand from the
Yeah,
people who've played
yeah,
it, which is good. That's what they should have done.
yeah,
How are they going to do that with these DLC characters when they have Doctor Strange and
yeah.
Scarlet Witch in there?
It's ridiculous. Yeah, they're so powerful.
Mm.
But then again, we're going to get the MCU version for sure. And of course, they depowered Strange to nth degree in those
Yeah.
movies. And that that's what we're going to get. We're getting movie Avengers is what we're getting. We're not getting comic book Avengers. Just deal with it. I think what I think they should have done, putting Miss Marvel in there and writing her and selling her properly to the mainstream public or the video game public. Go ahead and try. But what they should have done is had you be able to make your own character and have a
Yes.
certain amount of power sets that you could choose from. Because of the nature of the game, it can't be so fluid, so it would have to be kind of rigid. But the brute, the tank, the blaster, whatever. And
Mm.
then it's from your point of view. That would have been way cooler. And then you can play as Miss Marvel or Hulk to join your
Mm-hmm.
team if you want to, and they have their own little story if you want to do that. That would have been a lot better because that character is going to annoy a lot of people, and I don't mean politically. That could be they could get woke with her because we know they did in the comics. But from what I saw, she's just annoying. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Here's
Oh, yeah.
Hawkeye right here. Um, let's see what they're doing with Hawkeye. Let me do that real quick.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. That's the game I've wanted
Yeah,
from Marvel,
yeah,
and for some reason, nobody will even try to make it.
it's weird.
DC Universe Online kind of gave you that to some degree, but it was an MMO game.
Yeah,
I would love for a single player or maybe even co op, like 4-player experience where you can create your own Marvel superhero. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and I don't know why they don't do that. Of course, we had City of Heroes. We've had Champions Online. We've had DC Universe, which definitely lets you do that. There are 3 other MMOs that are coming out soon. I would imagine 2021, maybe 2022, that are all trying to do that. And I'm sure there's other things in the work as well. And But they didn't. Like the last real effort we saw from Marvel was with Gazillion, and they came with the Marvel Online and or whatever they called it, and you could play like pretty much every character that was ever created in the Marvel universe. Really, it was quite extensive, but you couldn't make your own character. And this is something that MMOs get. This is something that wrestling games get. People like to be able to make their own character. Like I've never played Uncharted, for instance. I know what it is. I've watched some videos on it, but I don't really like playing a preset character very much.
Mm.
I'm not into that. I want to make my own character. I'm an RPG guy, right? And Marvel
Chester, if you
refuses to
never
do that.
listened to me about anything, play Uncharted 2 to 4 and thank me later. You'll love them. Promise. Anyway, go
I hear
ahead.
they're really good. I just don't lean that way, right? Um, but it's just I'm that type of gamer. But Marvel has never given us this. DC at least tried. DC Universe, it's pretty. It allows you to make your own set of superpowers, and it has a great combat system. If you ever played DC Universe, the fighting in
Mm.
that is great. It's not tab targeting. You actually have a well, anyway, it's a lot of fun. But it just missed the mark. It just missed it. The funny thing about it was the guys who created City of Heroes, which was absolutely amazing game. It just the narrative, the gameplay, it was a great game, and it's an old game, but I'd still play that today. It's so much fun. The same core after it was a Nexon booster canceled that. I think it was Nexon, right? that
Something in something. Same guys who canceled freaking Wildstar.
Yeah, yeah,
Those bastards.
it's NC Soft. It's like the Korean
NC
guys, right?
Soft
Yeah,
wankers.
yeah. But anyway, that team went over and made Champions, and Champions had a better character building system, I think, as far as your options for making your character. But at the same time, it just I don't know, it missed the mark. It just wasn't as good as City of Heroes. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it. But it wasn't. Then that same team, those same guys, went over and made DC Universe, and once again they couldn't get it right. So it's like, is City of Heroes just a lightning in a bottle situation? I don't know. But I can tell you clearly, City of Heroes, I absolutely adored. It was fun in every way. Those other 2 ones just couldn't keep my attention. And I own a lifetime subscription to Champions, by the way. But I don't play it hardly ever because it just isn't cool like those are. I don't know. Hopefully these 3 will do it, but I agree with you 100%, Thundero. Marvel, listen to your fans, you bastards.
Yeah. Let us create our own hero. It's and they could even do like a lot of games will have in fact great example the game we were just playing Booster Divinity where there's preset characters with their own stories that if you pick them you'll play their story or you can create a character that is your character. You can make them however you want, and then there's a different story for your created character. They could do that if they really desperately need to have their preset character in the game.
Hmm.
Just give me the option. Let me try it. Let me try and make a cooler version of Spider-Man or a cooler version of Hawkeye or whatever I want. Why?
All right,
Ah,
I'll tell you what it is. All right, the biggest problem about the writing in video games these days is the absolute narcissism of video game writers. They What a video game should be, right, is that a game should be dictated by the decisions you as the player make, and the game should absolutely um, mold to the choices that you make. The problem with writers these days is they want the gamer to experience everything the story has to offer in the one sit through. They're terrified of doing things like multiple paths and multiple choices because they want you to see everything, right? They want
Yeah.
it to be my vision, which is it's a terrible mistake a lot of writers make, which is why we don't tend to get these allow you to make your own characters and shit like that, right? They want you to experience their characters and their
Well,
vision.
that is part of it. And this article is sitting here mentioning will it be Pym or Scott Lang for Ant-Man? I bet you it'd be Scott Lang. They're also
Yeah.
showing a picture of MODOK here. Is it going to be this MODOK? Which it looks like it is. Thank goodness it's not the West Coast Avenger version. But you know what else I think it is though, Booster? Is I think it's Disney. I think it's just Disney. They're stuck in this. You have to have a character that's on model. Aladdin, Jasmine, Mickey. Whatever. These characters must be on model, and they must represent the essential of what that character is. And I think it's very much the Disney concept. They don't want you to be able to do your own thing. You have to sell. You have to buy their brand, right? And Disney does this. And I'll give you an example of why I think this. Before Disney owned Marvel, we had now the role playing games they did were excuse me, the video games they did were all mainly kind of fighter games, right? And some of them were quite fun. But in the RPG world, as far as tabletop, we had several gaming systems come out from Marvel. The best one I think was Marvel Superheroes, the original, but there were several. And right before Disney bought it, Margaret Weiss, the legendary Margaret Weiss, she came out with the Civil War tabletop gaming system. With her new system, which was pretty good. I own the books, and I actually own all the other books in PDF form because she got pissed and just dropped them on the internet for everybody to have. But it was a great system where you make your own character and you can interact with the Marvel characters if your DM is doing that, right? So it was very much the standard make your own character type of thinking. And then Disney came in. And what Disney does, as they always do, is they cancel everything that's going on with your company. So when they bought Marvel, they canceled everything, just like they did with Pixar and everything else. So, and we've never had a return. We've never once since seen any tabletop thing come out of Marvel since Disney's owned it. Not even a hint, right? And so I don't know. I think it's part of the corporate mind think of Disney that
Yeah.
has a big part of it.
Disney's
I-
evil.
I'm not interested in this game, if I'm totally honest with you. I think it's a massive cash grab. I think they're gonna sell skins up the ass and DLC expansion packs. There's gonna be just watch. There's gonna be a ridiculous number of pre-order bonuses and versions of this game. I remember when the first Watch Dogs came out. There was a chart that they had to make a chart so that you saw what you're gonna get with what version of the game you got. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And this kind of this way that these companies treat their games like a service for themselves is something in gaming that I want to just die. And the
Yeah, it's a
Avengers
bad
just
trend. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
looks like it's going to really. Ugh,
Mobile
I think
gaming did that. The mobile gaming and the loot boxing is what did that. And then
very guilty of this.
they're not going
And
back, dude. They won't
if
go
I'm
back.
honest, the gameplay looks like it'll be fun for about half an hour. Right?
Well,
I've
we'll see.
watched quite a few streamers, and a lot of them dropped it because they got bored.
Well, yeah, no, and of course it is a demo, but we'll have to see because it sounds like they have many power sets, as many things.
I think it's bad if you get bored in the middle of a demo.
That's fair. That's fair. But we'll see how it goes. I'm like Thundera. I just want to see another Marvel game, right? It's been so long, man. But we'll see how it works out. This is the last part of this article here. Is talking about other characters mentioned in the leak. The Frenzy, which is probably just some kind of class of enemies. It looks like Ultron. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Red Hulk. All right. Deathlock. Vindicator. Monica. What the hell's a Monica?
Probably Monica Rambeau.
Oh, Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. I don't know. Looks like some of them could be skins for one character moveset, like Captain Marvel and Marvel, Hawkeye and Kate Bishop, Iron Man and War Machine. Maybe, Josh. Let's see. Booster knocked it out of the park with what he just said. So someone agrees with you. Yeah, lucky day.
Hooray!
Validate is a more interesting looking game. God, that's not good. It's not Good, brother. All right. Well, let me stop this. Let me get out of this. And here. Okay. Boom. There we go. So, all right, guys. First show back in what, 9, 10 days, right? And that was a long one. 2 hours. We had some fun, though. Interesting conversation. We talked about comic books mainly. Mainly. Was there anything you'd like to add, Booster?
Yeah, Avengers look crap.
Avengers look crap.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And I'm looking forward to Baldur's Gate 3, which
Oh,
we are
yeah.
having
That
a
looks
stream
sweet.
for in about a day
Oh, really?
when
What's
they'll
going on
finally
with that?
announce the release date.
What's
Yeah,
going on with that?
they're going to announce the release date for it.
Oh, you got to have a release date streaming party? That makes sense. Um,
No, that's what's going to be on their stream. They're doing a stream, basically,
oh, I
not
see.
me.
I see. But yeah, no, it does look really good. It does look great. And if you like that kind of Diablo-esque or, all the old Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter, if you like that kind of stuff, it definitely looks like it's up your alley. And if you haven't played Divinity Sin, or what is it called?
Divinity Original Sin 2.
Original Sin. Great freaking game. I haven't played the other ones. I hear they're good too. Really good. So Larian Studios is in charge, and I mean, if they're just allowed to do what they do, it's gonna be freaking epic, dude. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to that too as well. How about you, Thundera? Anything else to add?
Nope, not really. I actually agree with Booster. I would say the Avengers game looks like fun, but I think it is going to run into that problem where it's fun for a very short while, and then it just peters off because how much more different stuff are they going to be able to do with it? We'll see though. I hope not. I want to be able to play Thor and actually enjoy it.
He looks amazing.
Um, he does look fun,
Yeah.
so hopefully not. But all we know is time will tell. One thing I did want to say about you guys are talking about DLCs. Largely, they still have their shops. A lot of these companies, but by and large, it's pretty much only to cosmetics now. At least from my experience. Now, there's a couple of exceptions, but the games that I play anyway, if they have a shop like that, it's either a cosmetic thing or something you don't need at all, or something you can earn in game as well. So I don't hate that usually, as long as it's not something where it's obviously gated so that I have to engage in the shop. I don't particularly care if they need to monetize their game X, Y, and Z way. Fine. Um, it was really starting to get egregious there for a while with the loot boxes and how every game was basically just a loot box generator. But it's starting to pull back, and we can thank, I would say, CD Projekt Red for that. It really started to pull back around The Witcher 3. We can also thank the European Union. They actually did something right by, trying looking into these as gambling and basically call them what they are as gambling. Um, but other than that, I think Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out. It probably will end up being the biggest game this year, especially since everything else seems to be getting delayed. Um, we will see. I think it will be very successful. I don't think it's going to be the biggest game of all time or even close to it, unfortunately. And I do think a lot of people are going to be disappointed. I think just from what I've seen of it, it's going to end up being maybe an 8, 8.5, considering their last game was as close to a 10 as you could ever make.
Yeah.
That'll be a letdown to a lot of people.
Maybe.
So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Thank you guys for coming in here and joining us today. As usual, it's always a lot of fun. Do keep in mind that tomorrow we have our Bugbear's Basement where we will be continuing the Tyranny of Dragons RPG. Come and be part of that. We have our normal week going. Booster, what is our drawing a quarter this week?
Hammer horror.
Hammer Horror. Oh, that's badass.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Let's see what these guys can do with some of those old classic villains. I'm assuming we're going to get at least one Christopher Lee. That'd be cool. Peter Cushing would be nice. Yeah. Very good. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. We'll see you with everything else. Stay safe out there, and I will namaste us today.
Oh.
Very simply,
Uh-oh.
those who do not heed history are bound to repeat it.
Namaste.
Namaste. Later, guys.
Aloha.